Okay, now that we're done with the bodice, it's time to do the skirt. So step 24 says, with right sides together, stitch center seams of skirt front and back sections. Now if you look at the pattern, the center seam is the side that has the 2 notches cut into it, because one side has 1 notch, the other side has 2 notches. So go ahead and pin and stitch both the front and the back. Should have 4 pieces for your skirt, and you're sewing 2 together and then the other 2 together at the center seam. Okay, so that should give you 2 pieces like this. And it says, with right sides together, stitch skirt front to skirt back at side seams, leaving left side seam open above the notch. So I would recommend you flip your skirt so that the fabric that you want on the outside is on the outside, and hold it up to you and mark your left side. That way you know which side to do it, and you're going to sew all the way up to this notch here. Here's the waistband notch. So you'll sew up to that notch. Okay, so now you should have a skirt, an extremely big skirt, because it's not going to be ready for you to wear yet. Now, this has you doing the hem next. I actually like to do the hem last. It might be having you do the hem because it wants you to add this slip to it, but I'm not doing the slip for my skirt since I am doing a tulle skirt. So if you're doing view A, apparently view A is pleated, so you would do step 26 and pleat very similarly to how we pleated the straps of the bodice. I'm going to do view B and just do the gather. And this is going to be similar to when you gathered, for lack of a better word, the part that goes under your boob in the bodice. What you're going to do is you are going to go to step 27, and you are to gather upper edge of skirt between notches nearest left side, stitch along seam line, a 1/4 inch inside seam line, stitch along seam line and 1/4 inch inside seam line using a long machine stitch. So just like we did with the bodice top. Okay, once you have done the gathering stitches, you're going to flip the pattern over, or the instructions over, and it's going to give you instructions to stitch the slip in. I'm going to skip that since I'm not making a slip for mine. If you've made it this far, you should be fine with the slip instructions. We are actually going to skip to number 33. With right sides together, stitch skirt to bodice at waistline seam, matching centers and side seams, press seam towards bodice. So this is actually what you're going to, when you are going to pull those gathering strings and make it so that it fits into with your bodice. So what I would do is find your bodice front. Alright, so this is my bodice front. I'm actually going to bodice front, skirt. Make sure your fronts are together, bodice front to bodice front, and I would match the centers and then the side, centers and then the side, and then I would pull the gathering strings and pin. Okay, so I have half of it done, and it should look something like that when you have it pinned. Go ahead and pin the other half, and you're going to go ahead and sew along here, and it's a 5/8 inch seam allowance since it does not say otherwise. Okay, so this is what you should have once you've sewn everything, and when you flip it like this, that is your seam between bodice and skirt. Now you're going to take this over to the iron and press the seam, and all that's left to do is install the zipper. Okay, so for the zipper, what I would recommend is that you fold this over where your zipper is going to go. You're going to fold it on the little seam here. You know, like 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch, whatever. And iron this. And then install your zipper. And basically, to install a zipper, I am not an amazing zipper installer, so you know, if you have a better way, feel free to do that, or if you want to look up YouTube videos, feel free to do that as well. What I do is you're going to start on one side at the bottom, and you are going to just pin all along here. You're going to try to keep it even with the little teeny tiny minuscule zipper seam here. And then you're going to sew along that, trying to keep about 1/8 inch from your zipper. You are going to need a zipper foot for this. And the zipper foot's going to look like this. And basically, it's to allow you to get really, really close to the zipper. See, the zipper foot is missing the side. That way this can run alongside the zipper while your needle sews, and it gets you nice and close to your zipper. So go ahead and iron that, pin your zipper in, and sew it in. Zippers are tricky. I apologize. There's really no easy way I've found to do it. You just have to do them over and over and over again, and eventually you'll start getting some not so terribly bad zippers. Okay, so this is an example. I ironed this down first, and then I went ahead and pinned it, and it's right along the opening of the zipper. You can see that. Now, what I'm going to do, because my dress is two-tone, is I'm actually going to sew all the way up along here, and then once I hit here, I'm going to change out the thread in my machine to white, and then continue up in the white. So I'm actually going to have to change my thread like 4 times for this. Okay, so once you've installed your zipper, this is what it looks like. I chose an invisible zipper so that it would be invisible, and with my mediocre sewing skills, it's almost invisible. Now, according to the pattern, you can put a hook and eye. I recommend putting it right up here. That way you can hook this and then zip it up. But it's kind of up to you if you decide you want to do that or not. And you need to hem it, because this is a circular hem. You know, these aren't straight lines. They're kind of angled curves. I recommend that you have somebody help you pin it to the length that you want, and then you're going to have to stitch that by hand. If you want to attempt tackling it on the sewing machine, go for it, but doing a circular or curved hem like this on a sewing machine is really hard. I also recommend, if you did not do the slip, or actually even if you did, because the slip is not actually attached to this, what you'll want to do is you're going to fold this in like this and then fold it again. That puts all your frayed edges on the inside so that they don't fray and then dangle out, and you've got threads hanging out the bottom of your skirt. And that's it for our first project. You have a completed dress.